Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing a winding path, which you can see Sleuth there in the thumbnail exploring with what looks like a whole bunch of, I'm going to say fireflies rather than fairies, lighting the way and using some kind of lantern to hopefully shine a beacon through this winding path. Now, typically when you look at this and there's fog and it's dark, you might be thinking that we are playing a fog puzzle. Please don't be mistaken, that is not the case today, but we are definitely on a winding path that we're going to have to sort of unwrap and figure out exactly where we meant to go. So just one more thing, I think, before we get going. So today, as I'm recording this, is actually Christmas in the Sleuth household. Another beautiful day, lots of friends and families around. One kind of big mistake we did make is we had Christmas crackers, which unfortunately really panicked our elder dog. So you may see me occasionally pausing the video just to sort of make sure that she's settled down and a little bit more comfortable. So just watch out for that. I may need to do it occasionally. Well, let's take a look at today's puzzle. So, a winding path by Arbitary. Now, Arbitary has apparently featured this new variant in a number of other puzzles, and he's deliberately got like a more introductory version of it so that people become familiar with the route. Am I just misremembering this, or was this another puzzle that I was looking at? I think this is the right one. Now, I will take you through the rules, but what Arbitrary has actually done is he's given us a helpful example that would probably far better illustrate it than what I'm trying to do here. So, first rule, we're all familiar with. Normal Sudoku rules apply. So that means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3 by 3 box, as outlined by these darker black lines, or I should say thicker black lines. Then we have consecutive sum lines. So essentially they are sum lines, but the sum between each box has to differ by 1. So just in case you're not familiar with sum lines, essentially every time a line enters a box, such as these cells, they will sum up to a digit, and that will become the sum for, as in all these cells will contribute towards a sum for that section in that box. Now, under normal sum lines, then you would come along and take a look at this branch of the line, and essentially that sum would have to be equal. Now, the only twist on today's rule here is Arbitrary has come up with something novel called consecutive sum lines. So, I don't know, let's say this is now adding up to 12. I'm going to make up some numbers. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, and 6. This means that these 3 cells now, because they are consecutive, as you can see, this branch is coming into this box in here, has to add up to either 11 or 13, essentially the 2 digits that are surrounding the 12. Now, each branch of it can have different sums. So just because these are, let's say, adding up to 13, doesn't mean that this cannot add up to 11. So hopefully that makes sense. And if not, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you Arbitrary's own introduction of the puzzle. And he's got essentially a 4 by 4 example. I'm going to just make sure it is on the screen. And then because I've done this mistake once before, I'll make sure to sort of bring it back in focus once I actually go back to the puzzle. So he's given us sort of this 4 by 4 example, as you can see. And you can essentially see this red line that we're going to follow through in this image. This sum is 1. Then you jump into another box. This sum is 2. Jump into another box still. This sum is 3. 2 plus 1. Jump into another box. This sum is 4. Jump into another box. And remember, different branches can have different sums. This sum is back down from 4 to 3. And then back up to 4 as it goes back into this box. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. It clearly means that we're going to have to follow this line somewhat consecutively. Otherwise, we have no idea what it adds up to. And I'm really looking forward to playing this rule set. Now, I'm just going to flash this up Yeah, so consecutive sum lines don't get many solved, so I decided to create an approachable version to encourage more people to give the constraint a try. And if anyone enjoys this solve, they may wish to try the others, more difficult puzzles using this rule set, and Arbitrary has provided a handful of links there for us to potentially explore. So if you solve today's puzzle, you enjoy it, and you fancy featuring some harder puzzles, I mean, there's a weekend coming along, then please do let me know down in the comments. And with that said, the only thing left to do is to say, well, if you want to go down your own winding path and figure out where it all leads, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I think, and I'm actually really sorry that I've done this, that as I was explaining this rule, I've spotted the break-in. Because you see, these 4 cells, the absolute minimum that they can add up to is 10, with 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the next consecutive piece of the line is in this box here, but it's a single cell, which I think is very much the clue here. I can't go up into a double-digit number. So even though the minimum here is 10, I need to have a single digit in here, and it's got to be the 9 to join the 10, and these 1, 2, 3, 4s cannot possibly be any bigger. Then we can basically follow this line around. So the 9 goes into this box. Remember, it has to change. So if it's 9, it could be 10. Sorry, it could be 8 or 10. I'm clearly not putting 10 on a single cell. So that's 8. This could be 7 or 9. I've already placed the 9. That's 7. This could be 6 or 8. I've placed the 8. So that's definitely a 6. This could be 5 or 7. I've placed the 7. That's got to be a 5. Now, we have 3 cells in here, and the options are 4 or 6 as the sum. Minimum for 3 cells is a 6, so that is 1, 2, 3, and it is definitely a 6. Then from 6, we go up to 5 or 7, up or down, I don't know, in here. And what's interesting is it doesn't necessarily have to be the same. Like, I mean, if this branch is 5, that doesn't mean that this branch isn't 7, or vice versa. They don't have to have the same sum. Now, if this was 5, this would be 6 or 4, so 4 is an option. If this was 7, panic, because 6 and 8 are not available. So this is definitely a 5. And because 6 is not available, this is definitely a 4. This is 3 or 5. The 5's already placed. This is definitely a 3. This is definitely a 2, because 4 is not available. And that's not a 3. That's 1 or 2. Can I solve this now? So if it is 5, I could do 1, 4, presumably, as such. And essentially no 1s in here, 1 in there, and 2, 3 paired. So that's possible if it's this sums up to 5. Now, the other option, if you remember, is it sums up to 7. And 2, 5 is not available. 3, 4 is not available. I guess 1, 6 is available in this order because of this 6. So there's definitely a 1 on this section, and therefore no 1s in here. That's a 2, 3, and this is definitely a 1. And these are not 1s. In fact, the fact that we have, I don't know, I didn't spot this earlier, a quadruple here tells me that the 4 has to be here. There are no 4s in here, and the 1s have to be here. And we've got a triplet now in both of these columns. This 2 could be 1 or 3. Now, I'm going to say it's definitely 3, but I'll show you why. If I go with 1, then I need 2 cells to add up to 2, because that's the next one up from here. Clearly, I can't go down to 0. And 1 is just simply too small if I need to try and place 2 in 2 cells. So that's got to be 3. Again, 2 is too small. I could do 4 with 1, 3. That 3 tells me the order, so that's 3, that's 1. That tells me that this is a 6 and a 1, because it couldn't be a 1 of... Did I really just... No, I did need the 1 to disambiguate. Sorry, I thought this was for a second like 4 or 6, and I just was blind. Right. This 4 tells me that this is 5 or 3. I've already placed a 3, so this is definitely a 5. This is 4 or 6. I don't actually know what it is. I'll just pencil mark both options. This 4 could be, it's 3 or 5, but it's not 3, it's in the column. So that's definitely a 5. Going into here, that's, oh no, hang on, that's 3 cells, so it's a minimum of 6, and it is a 6 because I have to connect it with the 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, not in here. That 3 tells me that's not a 3, which tells me these are 3s. Neither of these are 3s now. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple in row 3, so that tells me this is a 6. Not that it's really helped, if I'm honest. I'm sure it will down the line though. So we've got a 6 in here, it jumps into, oh, okay. Got 1, 2, 3 cells, and I don't have a 3. So at this point, the minimum I can make is 7 with 1, 2, and 4, because the 3 is not available. And 7 does connect to 6. I clearly can't do 5 in 3 cells, so it is 1, 2, 4. That's not a 4, that's not a 1. And I can't actually resolve any of them. Strange. 7 can come down to 6 or 8. If it's a 6, this would be 5 or 7. No 5s. If this is 8, that would be 7 or 9. Now, whichever one it is, I clearly can't go up to 10. So 8 is one option. Now, the other option would be 6, but I've already placed it in the column. Essentially, the 7 can go down to 6, but 6 is not available. So this is 8, which gives me this as a 6, which of course now means it's got to be the 7. Otherwise, the 9 wouldn't be consecutive with the 6. This is a lovely puzzle. It's just unwinding beautifully. The 8 can be 7 or 9. Then we have 3 cells in here, which could be a lot of options. I'm not sure I want to explore them all right now. Yeah, 7 or 9 means this could be as low as 6. It isn't though, because I've got 1, 2, and 3 staring at this cell, and in 3 cells I would need all of 1, 2, and 3. So it's not 6. The other option would be an 8, and then the last option would be a 10. Now, an 8 is not that far-fetched, and I tell you why, because there is a 1 in here, just Sudoku, eliminating 1s from box 9, as well as I need to have a 1 in here, because I eliminated it from this cell. So there's a 1 in box 6 on the right-hand side, eliminating this option, so there's definite 1 on here. Now, if it is an 8 sum with a 1, my options are 3, 4, and notice the 3 would be restricted to this cell, so essentially it would be 3, 1 with 4. The other possibility is 2, 5, and the 5 eliminates both of these options. That would be the 5. That would have to be the 1, and then that would be the 2, and it breaks because of the 2, 3. So 1, 2, 5 is not an option if it's an 8. It's literally 1, 3, 4 exactly in this order. Now the other possibility is 10. But I still need a 1 on there. So I could do 2, 7. And because of this 7, essentially, and I could have a 1, a 2, because essentially I'm just conscious of the 1, 2 triplet in there. 1, 2, 3 triplet. So the 7, essentially, the 1 and 2 have to hide in here away from the 1, 2, 3, and this would be the 7. And because this is a 9, that would be fine to get to 10. The other option, of course, would be 1, 3, and 6, which is not available. And then the last option would be 1, 4, and 5. And because of these 5s, this 5 in here, so the option would be 5, 1, and 4. So that's essentially a full marking of all the possibilities. And we end up with a 1, 2 pair, a 4, 7. We've got an 8 in here. So essentially I've got another 4, 7 and a 9 somewhere between these two boxes. And the 4, 7, it can't be in here. That's the 9. That's the 4, 7. 9 doesn't actually help me with any of this. Got 1, 2, and 4. I need 6 and 8 to finish. This 8 gives me the order. That's an 8. That's a 6 to finish box 6. I say finish. I mean, you can see I've clearly not resolved everything. Now, I guess the other thing that I need to probably do is actually look at it coming down from this side of the branch. Let me just do a bit of quick Sudoku. That 7, for example, is not in these two cells. This is the only place for a 7. These two have to be 5 and 9. That 5 gives me the order. That's the 5, that's the 9. That's box 5 done. Oh, that 9 is staring at that 7, which forces this to be 6 or 8. 1, 2, 3 is not available, so it is an 8. And I believe we said it has to be 1, 3, 4, and nothing else will do, which gives me the 2, the 7. These are not 2s anymore. This is a 1, 3 pair, which essentially gives me a 2, a 4. Neither of these are 2s or 4s. That's 3, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. Have I resolved any of these? Not quite. That 2, yep, gives me this 1. That's a 2, 4 pair now. That gives me the 3 and the 1 as well. The 2 4s, though, are here to stay for now. Right, we're almost done with the winding road, and it's just straight Sudoku after this. I am thinking more Sudoku, though. Let's just tidy up. That's a 7. It's a very short tidy up, isn't it? 2, you can see it's neither of these two cells, so that's the 2 that resolves the 4 2s that are up here. Then we're left with 5 and 9, which this time are not resolved, at least not yet, until we figure out what's going on in here. We still need to figure out what these are. This is, I need a 2 in here. 2 is there. I need a 4. Too many places for 4. I don't know if I want to keep going. 8 is down here. And then because of this 9, the 9 has to be there. So it actually gives me a 4. Maybe worthwhile doing 4 and 8. And that's basically a 2, 9 pair that's left. I need a 1. That can only be in here because of this one. And then I need to place a 6 to finish. Should I just carry on? May as well. I mean, I'm going to have to do it at some point. For example, the 4s are up here. No, the 5, 9's not resolved. 6 is done, 7 is done, 8 is up here, and the 9 is not resolved. Let's go back to, no, let me just finish these, or at least finish that. I can just write in whatever this digit is. And these are only 2 options, so I may as well, because I'll need them for the winding path, I suspect. 10 gives me the option of 9 and 11, and there are probably many ways of doing this. So maybe better off to just limit our options a bit with 1 and 4 for sure on here to finish row 5. These add up to 5. If this was 9, this would need to be a 4, which is not available, so it's 11. So that would be 5 with a 6, which is available. And the 1 gives me the order. That's 4, that's 1. To finish this, I need a 2, I'm going to venture. Then I need 3 and 8, 3, 8, because of this 3. Now, we're here at 11. This has to add up to either 10 or 12. And it can't be 10. Because a 10 always comes in low and high digits. And I've placed all the low digits in box 1. So, there's only one option that's left, and that's 12 with 5 and 7. Again, the other options for 12, which would be 3, 9, 4, 8, won't work. I've already used these digits. And because of this 5, I know the order. That's 5. That's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 10. I have again 9 and 11 as an option. I don't know if I want to look at it that way. That's it easier. Got 2 8s looking at this, well, looking into this box, forcing an 8 in here. And the only way to have 10 and 8 join is to have 9 in the middle. Now, because I'm not allowed a 1, it can only be 2, 3, 4. Got a 3, 4 down here looking at this cell. This has got to be the 2. This 3 gives me that. This is the 4. This is the 3. That's the 4. That's the 8. And if memory serves, these were 5 9s. This 5 gives me the order. That's 9. That's 5. That's 5. That's 9. That 2 gives me the 2 and 9 down here. And we're basically on the home stretch at this point, unless I just royally mess up my Sudoku, which is not unheard of on this channel, is all I'm going to say. I need a 6 and 9. That 6 tells me it's in here. I need a 4. This can only be there. I can just write in whatever this digit is. 6, I'm going to say. And this one can also be written in. It's a 5. I need 7 and 9 to finish. 7. It's a phenomenal rule set arbitrary. So, I mean, I certainly enjoyed it. I don't know about you guys. Certainly, I'll be looking forward to your feedback as to whether I should be taking a look at some of the harder puzzles. So do let me know. What I will do, because what normally happens is I get very tempted to look at the other puzzles. And what I will do is I'll just record one of the harder ones. And by the time that you guys see this video, I would have finished recording just the one more. And I'll be looking towards your feedback before I do another one. That's a more honest way of actually coming to terms with what will likely happen. I enjoyed it enough that I'm definitely playing another one, and I may as well record it for your enjoyment, should you guys actually like to see it. So, I hope that you enjoyed the puzzle. I certainly have, and I hope they enjoyed the video as well. For a change, it's been one of my smoother solves. I haven't quite messed up as normal recently. Maybe I'm just better rested today. Who knows? See you guys for the next video. Bye-bye for now.